Let's cut through the noise. It's not about money. It's not about height. It's not even about looks. The men who women find most attractive aren't always the richest, the tallest, or the most ripped. They're the ones who understand how to carry themselves. Because attraction isn't just what you look like, it's how you make her feel when she's in your presence. And if you do these 5 things right, she won't just notice you. She'll feel drawn to you. Let's break down the traits that truly separate high-value men from the rest. A man who leads with purpose is naturally attractive because he's not looking to be chosen. He's already chosen his direction in life. His attention isn't scattered, and he's not constantly seeking approval from others, especially women. Instead of asking, "Does she like me?" he's focused on, "Does this serve my mission?" That kind of mindset creates a powerful energy. It says, "I know who I am, I know what I'm building, and I'm not slowing down to be validated by anyone." Women feel that energy, and it draws them in. Most men waste time trying to prove themselves, through texts, dates, gifts, or constant attention. But when you're grounded in your purpose, you're not seeking validation through a woman's reaction. You're too focused on your business, your health, your craft, your mission. You're building something real. That makes you stand out, because most people, men and women, are distracted and looking for external approval. When you're not, it signals that you're rare. You become the kind of man she doesn't just notice, she starts to admire and even chase. Leading with purpose also protects your energy. You don't tolerate drama, flakiness, or disrespect, because those things don't align with your vision. You naturally filter out people who aren't adding value to your path. And that strength makes a deep impression. A man like that doesn't beg for attention. He attracts it effortlessly. At the core of it all, purpose creates gravity. The more serious you are about your mission, the less you need anyone else to complete you, and that independence is deeply attractive. A man on a mission is hard to distract, hard to shake, and hard to forget. That's why purpose-driven men always stand out. They don't just walk into a room, they own it. There's something undeniably powerful about a man who knows how to stay calm under pressure. In a world where most people overreact, overshare, or lose their composure, emotional control becomes a rare and magnetic quality. Women are not attracted to a man who's emotionally volatile or constantly seeking reassurance. They're drawn to a man who's grounded, who can experience emotions without being ruled by them. This doesn't mean you suppress how you feel. It means you understand how to respond, not react. You're not easily rattled by a delayed text, a shift in tone, or a test of your boundaries. Instead, you stay cool. You observe. You move with intention. That kind of self-mastery signals maturity, strength, and high status, traits women instinctively seek out. When a man controls his emotions, he becomes a safe space. Not just emotionally safe, but energetically steady. Women can feel when a man is centered. It creates contrast, especially when so many other men are overly eager, needy, or trying too hard. Emotional control builds mystery. She'll wonder what you're thinking, why you're so composed, and how she can get more of your attention. This control also gives you the power to walk away when needed, without drama. You don't lash out, guilt trip, or beg for anything. You hold your ground. That silent strength speaks volumes, and here's the truth. Women will test your composure, often without even realizing it. They want to know if you're truly as stable as you appear. When you pass those tests effortlessly, she doesn't just notice, she respects you. And that respect builds attraction. A man who owns his emotions owns his power. And when you have that, you no longer chase approval. You create it through presence, through calm, through quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout. One of the most attractive traits a man can develop is the ability to set clear boundaries and enforce them without apology. Too many men let things slide. Disrespect, mixed signals, flaky behavior, all in the hope that things will work out. But this kind of passive tolerance doesn't earn respect, it drains it. When a man refuses to speak up or take action, he shows that he values her attention more than he values himself. That's not attractive. It's weak. Women are naturally drawn to strength. And strength is not just physical. It's mental and emotional too. When you set boundaries, you're not being controlling or harsh. You're simply showing that you know your worth and won't allow anyone to diminish it. Whether it's how you expect to be treated, how much time you'll invest, or what kind of behavior you'll accept, drawing a line is necessary, and enforcing. It is what separates boys from men. A man who sets boundaries without apology isn't aggressive. He's clear. He doesn't need to raise his voice or threaten. His calm firmness says everything. And ironically, this type of self-respect often creates more attraction. Why? Because it challenges her. It forces her to rise to the standard or walk away. And deep down, most women crave a man whose respect for himself demands that others treat him right. The fear of losing her keeps many men silent, but the willingness to lose her if she crosses your line is what makes you powerful. A woman may not always like a boundary in the moment, but she'll respect the man who has the courage to stand by it. When you hold your line calmly and consistently, you show that you don't need to control anyone. You only control what you allow in your world. That's real strength. And strength is always attractive. A man who speaks less but means more naturally commands attention. He doesn't feel the need to fill every silence or prove his value through constant words. Instead, he chooses his words, carefully, speaks with intention, and lets his actions and presence carry the weight. In a world where everyone is talking, the man who remains calm, thoughtful, and deliberate becomes impossible to ignore. His quiet confidence creates a powerful contrast. He doesn't chase attention, yet somehow he always seems to have it. This type of man doesn't need to brag or show off. He knows who he is, and he trusts that his value will be recognized without over-explanation. He may not always speak first, but when he does speak, people listen. Why? Because when words are rare, they become more meaningful. He creates space for others to feel heard, and when he finally gives his thoughts, they carry weight. That kind of presence signals leadership, confidence, and control. Women are especially tuned in to this energy. They can feel the difference between a man who talks to impress and a man who speaks with purpose. The latter becomes mysterious, intriguing, and difficult to figure out, which makes him unforgettable. The less he reveals right away, the more she wants to know. That slow reveal creates emotional investment. She leans in. She asks more. She chases the clarity he doesn't just hand out. This isn't about being cold or silent for the sake of it. It's about cultivating a presence where every word and action counts. It's about being intentional rather than reactive. When a man can do that, he stands out in the best possible way. He becomes a man who isn't just heard, he's remembered. And that's the kind of presence that leaves a lasting impact. The most attractive men are the ones who are constantly investing in themselves, not to impress others, but because they hold themselves to a higher standard. This self-investment shows up in every part of their lives. Physically, they take care of their bodies through discipline, not for vanity, but because they understand that strength and health reflect self-respect. Mentally, they are always learning, sharpening their thinking and expanding their understanding of the world. Emotionally, they grow through experience, reflection, and accountability. They don't run from discomfort. They face it head-on and come out stronger. What sets these men apart is their consistency. They don't wait for motivation. They rely on commitment, whether it's hitting the gym, working on their business, refining their craft, or upgrading their social skills. They stay in motion. And this constant motion creates momentum. Women are deeply attracted to that momentum because it shows she's dealing with a man who is going places. He's not standing still. He's not stagnant. He's building. And that's magnetic. Another key piece is that self-investing men aren't looking to be completed by a relationship. They're already full. They're already whole. So when a woman enters their life, she's not there to fix anything. She's there to join a journey that's already in progress. That's a completely different dynamic than the man who hopes a woman will give his life meaning. This kind of man doesn't chase approval because he already approves of himself. And that's the core of true attraction. Self-investment builds confidence from within. It builds competence, character, and depth. It turns you into a man whose lifestyle speaks for itself. And when that happens, women won't just be attracted to how you look. They'll be drawn to the man you've become. A man worth respecting, following, and yes, chasing. So if you've been wondering what really makes a man attractive, it's this. You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove. You just need to build yourself into the kind of man who naturally draws others in, because the most attractive men don't seek attention. They become so grounded, so focused, and so powerful in who they are. That attention becomes a side effect, and when that happens, she'll notice, she'll feel it, and most importantly, she'll want to be part of your world.